Welcome to Fairfield's Celebrity Theater. Today we welcome back into town a former Fairfield resident and Fairfield High School graduate. He's gone on to perform with music greats Tim McGraw. He's been the opening act for Keith Urban, Brooks and Dunn, and many others. Ladies and gentlemen, Brady Seals. Brady, can you share with our viewers a little information of how you got started? Oh, your roots in the music industry go back to your family. Is that what got you going in the music business?
Well, I think that it was a combination of a lot of different things. I grew up playing piano in a Pentecostal church, and it was full out band. I mean, there was I think he had like a 14-piece drum set in the pulpit. It was crazy, so we were full on holy rollers right off the bat,
Sure.
and it was great, there was a lot of passion in the music, and it really kind of inspired me to take it to the next step. I first started playing piano when I was 9, and I never really read music, but kind of ear taught, and just went on from there, and just slowly kind of would find people who would play guitar, or find people who play bass or whatever, and just kind of play anywhere I possibly could.
Was there any one person that inspired you to go after this?
Well, again, combination. Of course, my mom and dad both. My mom sang and my dad played guitar. And we would sit around in the living room and play old country songs like Jerry Lee Lewis. I'd play the piano and play Great Balls of Fire or You Win Again or something other like that, and Dad would sing, and Mom would sing as well, and then of course my uncle Troy, he was such a huge mentor for me at the time. He was I forget, like during that time I think he was up to like 30 some #1 songs or something crazy,
Right.
So I knew that I had some pretty big shoes to fill. I would remember him coming up to what we call the hill, which some people around here call it the knob or whatever, but we call it the hill, and some of my family's up there, and Troy would come in his black Cadillac, and pull into the drive, and he'd sit on the couch and sing songs, and all of us kids would just sit around and just be in awe, like, oh my gosh, it's Troy, here he comes, and that was just really, really cool for me. Of course, I tell the story later on down the line when I was, I think that I was like 16 years old or so. I got together with a band in Hamilton, and we drove all the way down to Nashville thinking we were going to make it big in the music business. And we drove to Troy's house, right, after we had visited Music Row and everything, and we played him several of our demos, and the best advice that he could possibly give was go back and do something else. But of course I didn't. Yeah, exactly. But I didn't. I stayed, and I'm glad I did.
Well, I remember your dad. I worked with him at Fisher Body, and he was in the crane up above me, and I would see him come up and down with the guitar. He'd strap it on his back, come down, and I always plugged my truck in right where he came down the ladder.
Wow.
He'd come down, and he always told me about Troy, and he never mentioned you, though.
Yeah.
Maybe he knew.
Well, I was still a little toddler,
78, 79, somewhere in through there.
Yeah, I still playing baseball. Which was awesome. Yeah.
And he loved music, so I can see where that would have come through.
He really did. When I first started playing piano, I'd play it how it would read, what I could, because I wasn't very good at reading music. But I would play something, and he would just basically say, don't just play it, feel it. Literally right off the bat, that's what I needed to do. And so he got the emotion and the feeling, from songs, and I really appreciated that over the years.
When you went to Fairfield High School, was there an outlet there for you?
Yeah, there were. But I basically started singing in choir like early on, like probably 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Dan Pryor in town,
Sure.
Mr. Pryor,
Yep.
And then later on it was Mr. Poland, who was in a high school choir class, and that was a huge thing. We'd do swing choir and the whole bit. Get up on the little bleachers or whatever.
Risers,
the little risers. And we'd do our whole dancing, singing like 8 days a week or something.
Fun.
Yeah, but we would tour around and visit the retirement communities and sing for them and stuff. So it was great.
Yeah. With the high school, what is the music portion of the high school? What was your favorite memory from all of that?
Well, I don't know if it was a favorite memory, but it was certainly a memory. It was me and one of my friends, Darren Lakes, and he lived on a street next to mine. And we had this idea, and he was in choir class too, and we had this idea to do this skit. And basically, at the end of the year, everybody would be able to come up and do some kind of solo or get with 2 or 3 people and do some kind of little thing, right? Well, my thing was the underwear pair, right? So we literally got in these white long johns, right? And we wore these crazy hats or whatever. We were just crazy goofy. And we had the underwear pair, and we did that thing, and it was awesome. Had everybody rolling, it was killer.
Yeah, fun. What about the music industry? Who inspired you there? I mean, you mentioned Troy.
Yeah.
Were there others?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up, of course, I played piano. That was my thing, and Dump Rice, or Dumpy Rice is what everybody called him. He played piano for Lonnie Mack, which also played with Troy back in the day with the Cincinnati Kids, and Dumpy would come over to the house and would just teach me the blues scale and teach me how to use your left hand on the piano and stuff. And he really inspired me to continue playing piano, as my main instrument. And just had a whole lot of heart and soul, So him, and of course, all of the people that Troy's career was kind of associated with, like Conway Twitty, which Troy had Conway's first song called There's a Honky Tonk Angel That'll Take Me Back In. I was told that the story was with that, not to get sidetracked, but I was told the story with that was, Troy was the second artist to be signed at Atlantic Records. The first artist was Willie Nelson.
Okay.
Now this is just a hearsay. I'm not for sure about this, but this is what I heard. And Troy had signed there and got to be friends with Conway, and Conway heard all of his songs and so on and so forth. And when Conway heard Honky Tonk Angel, he just said, Troy, please, man, I really, really need that song. That song's going to break my career and the whole bit. And Troy gave the song over to him. And that was going to be Troy's first song. And, or a part of the catalog that was going to, release his career and, do the whole artist thing. And he basically, gave it all to Conway. He just said, you run with it, man. And sure enough, it worked out great for him, but a lot of people would probably almost regret that, but for Troy, it worked out pretty good,
That's the thing with the music, country music in particular. Everybody's just friendly, willing to give, willing to help. And I think with that story there, it just shows it started out that way.
Yeah, definitely.
And it still goes very similar today.
Yeah.
Everybody's willing to help out each other.
Yeah, and as far as influences earlier on, there was Dobie Gray, which Troy had a whole lot to do with that record as well. Elvis was a huge influence on me, and this was early on.
Sure.
Had a crazy story that with the whole Elvis thing. My mom would put on these little shows at retirement homes out at Logston's, I think.
Sure.
Yeah,
out in the township.
I think we were out at Logston's, and we would come out there and we'd do like a little Easter show, and then we would do a little rock and roll show. We'd do luau's and stuff, and me and some of my friends would come in and we'd do shows. Well, one of my mom's friends, Annie Setzer, had made this suit for me or something, or some scarves or something, and I dressed up like Elvis, right? And I was in there and I was singing something, baby. I was doing my whole thing, and the crazy thing about it was, as I got done with my show, and I remember this being a kid, when I got done with my show, we basically kind of made our way, and we were talking to some of the older people and stuff like that, and we turned on the television, and Elvis had died.
Oh.
And I was basically impersonating him and saw that. It was a really strange experience for me.
That's
very, and I haven't really told that story to many people, but that was pretty, it really like, whoa, you know,
yeah,
kind of crazy.
Oh, that's what a coincidence.
Yeah,
that is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you know, but you know, as far as influences, Jerry Lee Lewis, Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard, George Jones on the country side of things, Ronnie Millsap. But on the you know, as anybody out there knows, because I can't hold the secret around here for sure, when I was in high school, I was a break dancer, right? I know that sounds crazy, but I did. I was a break dancer, and so I really dug R&B, and which was, you know, not quite hip hop yet. You know, the Double Dutch Bus really couldn't. I don't think you can consider it hip hop, but it was back then. You know, and like Zapp, Midnight Star, and stuff like that. You know, I was just so heavy in. And so you know, the Gap Band and Prince and all of that kind of stuff. So I was really, you know, kind of in the middle between pop and country, you know. And of course, I like rock and roll too, AC/DC and you know,
those were the big
Led Zeppelin and all that, you know.
Yeah.
So I just had a wide array of influences over the years, you know.
Folks, we're gonna look for that breakdancing video.
Please, God, no.
See if we can pull that one out. With growing up with the music, everything you've just shared with us now, it's pretty extensive. Music was your life. Mm-hmm. What was your first paying gig?
My first paying gig was in Hamilton, Ohio. Uh-huh. It was at the corner of High Street and Route 4. There was a little convenience store at the time, which I think that it's like grown big now, but they used to have this little flea market behind the convenience store. I mean, you won't remember it, I promise.
Well, I grew up not too far from there, so I should remember this.
I mean, maybe so, but you know, I think that it only happened for like a summer or two, you know. But me, Kevin Pike, Jerry Combs, and Mary Morgan, all of us got together and we formed this little band called Dimensions or something like that. And my dad actually put my upright grand piano up in the back end of his old truck, and we drove it up there to High Street and set it down on the concrete and the whole bit, you know. And we had Kevin Pike's stereo speakers out there, you know, just blasting away, just going as far as they could possibly go. And we just loved it, you know. And that was my first paying gig, and I got paid more that summer than I had, you know, all of my life. And I was just like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
I think I remember that was the year that Hyde's doubled their prices. There was live entertainment within earshot.
That's great.
With singers and musicians, I mean, it always seems like it's a basement band and playing in the little bars, the little gigs like what you just described, the honky tonks. And how did you move from that into recording artist?
Good question. I really started off being in the studio. I recorded at Jewel Recording Studio in Mount Healthy.
Sure.
And you know, I went in there and did some demos, and a guy from Kentucky named Josh Logan heard the demos, and he said, "Hey, you know, will you come out on the road and tour with me?" And I was only in 11th grade at the time. I was like, I can't do that just yet, you know. And Mom was like, "No, you can't do that," you know. And But he was persistent, and he called again, you know, and he said, please, you know, we need a keyboard player. And Mom worked out a deal with him, basically saying that if I would study out on the road, come back home, and take night school, and graduate with my class that year, then I could do it. And he said, all right, you know, and so I did it, you know, and so I got a head start, and I literally, my first road trip was from Kentucky. That's where they were from. So we went down to Kentucky and went all the way up to Catskills Mountain and opened for Lee Greenwood. And I just thought, my God, I've hit the big time, man. I'm 16 years old, you know. So, and he's up there singing God Bless the USA and stuff. So we're up in Catskill Mountain. We get in this little trans van and we drive all the way across the country, 3,388 miles to Paso Robles, California. And we started playing mid-state fairs. And so I was in that for probably 2 years, 3 years, something like that, and met up with the guys and girls at the time of Little Texas. They were a 50s and 60s band at the time called the Varsities. And we met up with them up in Massachusetts at the big state fair, Big E State Fair or something. And you know, we hooked up with them, and they said, hey, why don't you join our band? We was like, we don't want to do 50s and 60s, you know. Well, they were persistent too, you know, and they called again and said, hey, we've got this guy in Nashville who actually went to Belmont, and he's working A&R for Warner Brothers, and he wants to put a band together and the whole thing, and that's how it started, you know. And we finished out some 50s and 60s gigs on cruise ships and hotels and stuff like that, you know. But we just, you know, went right into it. You know?
So, I mean, when you got with Little Texas, did they automatically change the name from the Varsities to Little
Pretty
Texas?
much. I mean, you know, the gigs that we had already booked, or that the guys had booked before I got into the band, you know, we were still called the Varsities. And you would not want to see video of that at all. They put me in this crazy mechanic suit, like a full body thing, right? And it would zip all the way up, and I had this crazy hat on, and I'd jump around looking like a nerd. It was basically like a 50s kind of thing, right? And I was like a nerd mechanic, right, in the band. Wow. It was terrible. So anyway, I was doing that, you know, but we played the cruise ship for 15 weeks, which, you know, everybody's like, oh, let's go on a cruise. I'm like, I don't want to go on one more cruise ever in my life.
Well, you're locked in there.
Oh, it's terrible, you know. The food, you know, the same old food over and over and over. The best part about it was that I was able to get my diving license, you know, so I was able to dive just wonderful, beautiful spots and stuff down in the Caymans and the Virgin Islands and so on and so forth. But during the day, we would go into the Grand Lounge of the ship, and we would basically become Little Texas, and you know, we were starting to write songs and the whole bit. And while we were on the cruise ship, not to make the story any longer, but while we were on the cruise ship, we got a call from Star Search, wanting to be on Star Search, and we were like, why should we be on Star Search? I mean, we've already got a record deal, you know. We didn't get it, you know. And they're like, look, you know, there's millions of people. I mean, it was basically the American Idol of the day.
That
you
was
know?
a big thing.
Yeah, you know, and we just really, really like scored big time, and we went out there and we were on Star Search, and we were finalists. We didn't win, thank God. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it was a wonderful experience. One of my first songs that I ever wrote actually was on TV, which was called One Blue Moment, I think.
One Blue Moment.
Yeah.
You'll get to hear that, folks, too. We'll grab that.
Thanks.
You worked with groups. You do a solo thing now. Which do you prefer? Group work or
you know,
solo?
I think both scenarios are very different, and both have pros and cons. With being a guy in a band, you have to compromise a lot. You know, it's a marriage, you know, with a bunch of hairy-legged men. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very difficult to be out on the road 24 hours a day. You know, I've heard people say it's, you know, you don't get paid for the hour or two that you perform. It's the other 23 that you get paid for. You know, because it's a very difficult life, and you compromise your creativity sometimes being in a band. The other thing, though, I think the pro of being in a band is there's power in numbers. You know, when you score, you know, when you have a big hit or you have something that happens, you can share it with people. You know, and they all get it. You know, so that camaraderie when that happens is just priceless. It's wonderful.
It's the creative mind all together, and like you say, it is like a marriage.
Yeah,
with a group of guys, you're all together. But I remember, and Miami University, some of the bands that came up there when I was in college, these guys were fighting by the end of the night.
Yeah, I've been there.
I mean, it's a miracle that they stay together 5, 6, 7 weeks.
Well, it's tough because music is really about putting your heart out on your sleeve. You know, and when you write a song, you know, if somebody, I don't know, it's kind of like somebody making fun of your baby. You know, it's like, hey man, you know what I mean? You get all bowed up. You know, it's just you do. You know, because you put your heart and soul into those songs, and it takes years of practice and you know, crafting a song, and you know, and then when somebody says I don't like it, it's like, oh man, you know, it just boom.
You know, I've had people tell me they don't like our videos. So
right.
It hurts. It does.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but you know, I think on the other hand, as far as being a solo artist, the pros is, of course, you have creative control. You can do whatever you want to do. You know, but you can get lost in that somehow. You know.
What do you mean?
Well, you can kind of. You can, you know, really think, well, by God, this is the way that it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden it doesn't work, and you're like, well, maybe I didn't know as much as I thought that I did. You know, and you really have a whole lot more responsibility. You have to do all the interviews, you know, on your own. You have to basically run your own business, and there's a lot of business to take care of. You know, you know, so, you know, there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah. Was there ever a time when you got out there, and you've been out there for a few years, in the beginning, yes, I can't do this. This is too challenging. I just would rather work the drive-thru at McDonald's than to go out on that stage and do this.
Believe me, there have been so many times where, you know, I have called home to Mom early on, just basically almost ready to just pull my hair out, you know, all of it. And I had a bunch back then. But seriously, it's like, you know, I would call home and I would say, look, I just can't do this anymore. You know, I mean, day in and day out. I mean, when Little Texas was at its peak, I mean, we were out on the road 322 days in a year. You know, I mean, that's a long time. There's no social life. You don't really have a girlfriend. You can't keep one. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't really have a future other than music. And after a while, it really starts to weigh on you. And you know, nobody really tells you that early on. You know, when you're having dreams about things. You know, you dream that you want to be a star, and you'll do anything to get it. But boy, it really zaps the life out of you.
It's pretty narrow. And you see what's at the end.
Yeah.
But you don't take that into consideration. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's tough, you know.
Now you've gone on, you've had some pretty big songs out there, done real well. And with Little Texas, I remember God Bless Texas all the time. I just heard it the other day.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you'll continually get paid from that song.
Yeah.
And that's going to be rewarding. And now, did you Did you win awards with that song, or any songs? I guess as far as that goes.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we were up for a couple Grammys for Amy's Back in Austin.
Oh.
You know, I mean, we were Group of the Year one year, and that was when God Bless Texas was out. You know, when What Might Have Been came out, which was my first #1 song. You know, Little Texas has had some success before that, like Some Guys Have All the Love, First Time for Everything, You and Forever and Me. But all of those went like top 5,
Sure,
top 10 or so. You know, but nothing #1. You know, but when What Might Have Been came out, it just like tapped a nerve for something. It was just crazy. I mean, the video was about war, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember the video or not, but you know, it was about this old man that, you know, met up with this girl later on. It was just a really, really touching video, which didn't really have anything to do with the song itself when we wrote it, but once the director put his vision on it, it was like, wow, you know, that's very touching. You know, it crossed over. It was a big pop hit, you know, and it was just like bam! All of a sudden, we were there, you know, and then we immediately followed it up with God Bless Texas, and it just went through the roof.
Yeah.
And then my third #1 song, which was 3 consecutive #1s, which was huge for me, was My Love, you know, which I sang, you know, and down there rolling around on the beach and the whole bit, you know, and it was just all surreal, you know. I remember when we were opening up for, it was Travis Tritt and Trisha Yearwood. It was the Rockin' Country Tour. If you want some video, that's some video. But it was just a huge tour, and there was probably 25,000 people per night. You know, Trisha was a big deal. Travis was a big deal. And then we were at the time. So it was just a rocking country tour, you know. And we'd come out at the end of the night and sing with Travis and Trisha and everything. We'd sing We Are Young Country, you know, that old Hank Williams Jr. thing, you know. And but I remember that show, I was backstage, and it was right before Little Texas was going to go on stage. And it was just me and Porter. 2 of the guys were way down on the other side of the stage because it was a big giant set. 2 of them was over there. Dale was already on the stage because he did the, you know, and he'd do this whole thing. But Porter and I was on one side, and the lights in the arena, you know, and the crowd went, Little Texas, Little. And I was like, my God, we've made it, dude. You know, and I looked at him, I was like, my gosh. You know, and really, up until that point, I didn't really get it, you know, because everything was going so fast. But boy, that was when it, you know, it just worked for us. You know, it was great.
Makes you feel good.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was awesome. Yeah, made it all worth it.
Yeah, it would. Absolutely would.
Yeah,
it's you play for that crowd reaction. You want that.
Yeah,
and it gives you that creative outlet, and to know people are enjoying that outlet.
Yeah,
and to be able to make a living with it, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think of the shows like Nashville Star? I think starts up here soon. American Idol just ended last night. What do you think about shows like that?
Well, I think that it's good, and I think that it's bad. I think that. I'll start off with the good. The good is that we all get to be very entertained. You know, the whole audition thing is just hilarious to me.
Sure.
After that, I really don't watch it. Yeah. But the auditions are just awesome. I love them. Yeah. You know, you know, I mean, there's some talented people. Of course, there's some talented people. They're still out there doing their thing. The thing that I don't like about it is that the show seems to make the artist who they are. You understand what I'm saying? It's they basically say, okay, today's 50s night, sing a 50s song. Yep. And if you don't sing a good 50s song, then you're out.
Right.
I don't agree with that at all, because artists don't paint all kinds of pictures.
Right.
Artists paint pictures that people like because it's theirs, you know.
we saw that in the American Idol this season. They brought out Neil Diamond, and these kids weren't born when he was around, and they were total. You could see the look on their face. They weren't coming from within. It wasn't there. And then you have the ones, some of the kids got out there, and they could do it. They did okay with it. Yeah. But when you turn them loose on what their passion is, they tend to do a little bit better. So, it makes sense.
Yeah, and the one thing that I do like is that they have introduced the artists playing instruments, which I dig. I really, really dig that, because I think that, now mind you, you don't have to play an instrument to be a star. I mean, look at Sinatra or Elvis or the list goes on and on and on.
That made them a star.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But I mean, for me, I just there's just something really interesting, and I don't know, just got a little bit more depth when they strap on a guitar or get behind a piano or something.
Yeah, there were a couple. The little gal, Brooke, I think was her name, that played the piano.
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
She kind of had a 60s, 70s feel about her, and threw the piano into the mix, and she sang from the heart. I understand that wholly.
Good stuff.
Do you think that changes those type of shows? Do you think it changes the way that people look at the music industry?
Yes, I do. I think that because of those type of shows, it's really changed the way the industry itself works. It's not so much whether or not people can be a star or not, but it's the industry itself basically has just been thrown for a loop because of it. When you have that much TV coverage on one particular artist, or 12,
right.
My gosh, when they get done, they're already stars, whether they're the idol or not, and it's just like, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? It's like they didn't win, but yet here they go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and some of them, they're not talented at all. Even some of the worst performers go on and have somewhat of there was the little, I don't know, the little kid, I can't think of his name. He was just horrible.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I mean, it was just
the hairdo.
horrible.
He had the hairdo.
Yeah,
I remember.
And he had a career.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hardly look at him. Let alone listen to him.
Right. Well, the thing about it is I just think that the industry has changed so much when it comes to promotion and marketing. Of course, TV is still king, radio is still king. 10 years from now, I'll probably look at it differently then.
Sure.
With the internet, doing its thing, there's a lot of independent artists coming out, which actually the new Hot Apple Pie record that I'm getting ready to do, which I know we'll talk about and everything, but basically, that's going to be an independent project, and there's just this really cool excitement about that because you are able to market yourself, go out and do what you do basically without somebody breathing down your neck and telling you what to do all the time. Because I mean, I'm old enough, I've been through the fire several times enough to know what I dig, what I don't dig, what songs I can sing, what I can't, and all that, So I'm able to kind of really have more control over a career, and I think that's that way with a lot of artists these days now. They're able to control it, with MySpace and Facebook and Bebo and all of these other social networks on the web. It's a very exciting time, actually.
Yeah. Where do you see this, the music industry? Where do you see this in 40, 50 years?
Well, that's a very good question. I think that would be a hard call to make. I think that we're all really, scrambling. I don't think that 10 years ago people would say, "Oh man, it'll be about MySpace." You said I don't think that people would have even said that 10 years ago, let alone how fast technology is working now. I think that there's going to be a lot of avenues of promotion and marketing that's going to open up as the future unfolds. And the great thing about being an independent artist or act or even a record company is that you're able to turn on a dime.
Yep.
You don't have, it's not like a big 747
Right.
that has to, take like 3 states to turn around. You know what I'm saying? You're in a, you just turn around wherever you need to go. And I think that's going to be the key. That's just my personal opinion.
It's that way in business in general.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger the machine, the harder it is to keep it on track.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing that even in our industry, and in the broadcast industry, it's changing so quick that I'd be reluctant to try to figure out what's going to be out there in 40, 50 years myself. Obviously, it looks like it's going to be on the internet.
It's kind of crazy because it seems like the quality has gone down and the quantity has come up, which I guess you can look at it in many different ways, I mean, there's Walmarts, and then there are little grocery stores.
Right.
So do you want the charm or do you want the fluorescent lights? Which one do you want? And leave it up to the people. And hey, I think that in the long run, it'll all work itself out.
Yeah. Well, the Walmarts don't have the little basement bands coming into play in their back lot either.
Yeah.
So it's that has to change too.
Well, and speaking of Walmart, even back in the Little Texas days, heck, even when Hot Apple Pie was doing its thing, even 3 years ago, Walmart was pretty much the major retailer for CDs.
Yep.
But now, they basically just said, I guess it was about 3 or 4 months ago, that the CDs are not going to be $15.99 anymore. They're going to go down to $9.99.
Yeah. So I don't think everybody knows they dictate the price.
Oh yeah.
So they can determine how much you're going to charge.
That's exactly
and
right.
How much you're going to make, and they're more concerned with how much. We're not going to bash Walmart here, but
it's the truth.
That's how they do business.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't blame them. Yeah. I really can't, because I know that this is kind of there's some people out there that probably say, oh man, but here's the thing about it. If you've got a DVD that somebody's paying $16 for, right? That they spent $150 million to make that movie, and it's $16. But yet you sit. It's
Oh, believe me.
I
understand
a
this.
record's only going to cost. If the record costs any more are crazy because everybody's doing them at home and so on and so forth. But even back in the day, it's $150,000 expense. Heck, even if it's $500,000, which is crazy money, you see the difference in the overhead.
Yep.
And it's only a matter of time before the record sales do come down. It's just a matter of placement of songs, artists, putting them in the right scenarios for them to make money as artists.
Sure.
Because, believe me, on the artist side of it, it's like, oh man, I hate for it to come down from $16 to $9.99.
Yeah.
I hate that. But, it's happening.
It puts it out in more people's hands. The volume thing comes into play. Will one offset the other? It could. It possibly could. But the little guys out there that have their little home studios, there's a lot of those now with the computers, and they can set in their off hours, a second little job, hack around with some music, and actually come out with some pretty good stuff.
Well, you go on MySpace and you can hear it. There's some great artists. If you look at them, if you go and you find them, they're out there to be found. And I actually had started a company last year called Opportune Music, and basically what it is I help mentor, guide, counsel artists who are kind of basically already have a little bit of a leg up. They've already got a little fan following, and they want to go up to the next level. And the thing about it is I'll get people sending me stuff all the time, and I'm like, wow, this person can really sing, and there's just some great talented people out there, if you look hard enough.
Send them to Brady. We'll give you an address, folks. You can.
Yeah, opportunemusic.com. Bring it. I want to hear it.
Bring it on.
That's right.
Who's your favorite band?
I think in pop right now, my favorite band is Maroon 5.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because they are a real band, and every single time that I have seen them live, they are consistent, and the guy can sing.
Yeah, yeah.
He can sing, whether you like that, whether you like that tone or whatever, that's up to you. But as far as consistency and professionalism and creativity, they're on. Yeah, they're on. But now, I know this kind of sounds crazy, but I love punk music, right? I love the Hives. I don't know if you've ever seen the Hives or not, but they dress up in these crazy white suits and bow ties, like white bow ties or whatever, and they come out and rock so hard, and just very, very entertaining. Now on the country side of things, I don't really have a favorite group. I think my favorite artist is Keith Urban.
Keith Urban. Mm-hmm. He's good.
Yeah, he is, and he's the real deal.
Yeah. You're in your car driving around. What do you listen to? Is it Keith Urban?
No.
Sorry, Keith.
I'm sorry. No, and we've done shows with Keith. He's a great guy, but no, I listen to strange kind of things. I'm a huge fan of Elvis Costello.
Yep.
I'm a fan of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I'm a fan of Wilco, Elliott Smith, more of rock alternative, kind of stuff. And then of course I love the old rock and roll, like Steely Dan and Steve Miller Band and Creedence and all of that kind of stuff. I love that era.
Well, that's my era.
Yeah, I mean that's just, I love that you can't hardly beat that stuff. And I don't know if you're familiar with it or not, and if you guys haven't checked it out, you need to go check it out. But pre-Bad Company, which I don't know if you're a big fan of Paul Rodgers.
I have Bad Company on 8-track tapes.
Yeah.
It's like telling my age here, but I love Bad Company.
Well, pre-Bad Company, they had a band called Free.
Yep, right.
Which everybody thinks that all right now, baby, that's Free, And boy, if you want to check out some stuff, go to YouTube and check that out.
Yeah.
I mean, that is it is the definition of a rock and roll band.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 4 guys rocking out so hard. And they do this one song called Mr. Big, and it's like, Paul Rodgers up there with that big long hair and them skin tight jeans or whatever, and he's doing the whole thing, and they're laying down this groove that was like, but there's like 100,000 people out there, and I'm thinking, my gosh, you have got to come out, with some big ones, to go out and do that kind of groove in front of that many people. You know what I mean? Because normally you want to speed it up, get them going. They just hang right in there, boy. And he can sing. It's good stuck, man.
Do you play off of any of that when you perform?
Oh yeah, definitely. The Stones. Mick Jagger.
We saw you last year. Was it last year or a year and a half ago? Mm-hmm. September days.
Love Mick Jagger, man. I think, and I had heard rumors that that he was out on the road with Tina Turner back in the day, and he'd come off the stage, and Tina basically told him, said, "Look, you need to dance more. You need to have more of a show. You need to entertain these people." And that's where he come up with that whole little thing that he does. And Tina was the one who taught him all of his moves, which totally makes sense when you watch him. He's just
but
he's such an entertainer.
Yeah, Tina Turner works that stage.
Oh,
she's all over the place.
Like no other.
Yeah, and even now at her age, she's still out there rocking.
Rod Stewart, another one, another great front man that it's just which I know that he's kind of switched his genre.
He's kind of went to the old Sinatra stuff.
Yeah, he's kind of got this where he kind of strolls across the stage or something.
If that's an age thing, or?
Maybe so. I think it opens his venues of opportunity.
Well, as we age, I guess maybe we slow it. Folks, you're going to see Brady with a martini glass in about 20 years in a suit.
Never. No.
Walking across the stage. Sinatra tune.
I'm going to rock till I die.
Okay, smoking a cigarette, martini. Somewhere there's a microphone in there.
That's great.
What was it like when you came back to Fairfield for September Days?
Wow. Well, you know what? I mean, every time coming back to Fairfield, it's always a pleasure. I just love it. I love that it hasn't changed that much. I mean, I think that the thing that's changed the most is Village Green. Yeah. You know, that's really which has been a great improvement, by the way. You know, I mean, Fairfield did need some kind of little bump up. You know, and it's really helped the appeal of Fairfield. And but you know, I mean, the crowd is always wonderful. It's always great to see people that I went to high school with, and you know, played baseball and football and basketball with and stuff. Yeah. You know, so it's always great.
You had quite a crowd there. Huge turnout.
Yeah, it was good.
I don't think I've seen anything like that since either. But yeah, Fairfield needed that downtown, that gathering spot. And
well, we
certainly brought it home.
I was actually going to bring my band Hot Apple Pie to September Days again this year, and we couldn't do it simply because my wife is going to have a baby September 17th. Yeah, thank you. So we couldn't do it, and I was just like, oh man, you know, but the baby is more important.
Absolutely. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you got to be around for that. You can't be out on the road and miss something like that.
Exactly.
But your heart's in the right place.
Yeah,
that's good.
you know, but
there's always next year.
Exactly, and that's what I'm thinking. You know, next year we'll come back, and hopefully with a big bang.
Yeah, and a little one in tow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He or she will be on drums.
Yeah, totally.
What would you say to somebody that's out there watching this now, if they wanted to pursue a career in music? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say learn as much you can as much as you can about the history of music. Mm-hmm. You know, before you even make the step of the future, know your history, because in music in particular, it matters. Because if you look at a scale, you're going from C to C, right? Mm-hmm. You got 12 notes. That's all you got. Yep. You know what I mean? And whether you think that you're being creative or not, it's already been done. You know, because there's only 12 of them in there. Now, there's probably been a different groove, there's been a different melody or whatever, you know, with those particular notes. But know your history. Know what song you're stepping on. Don't step on that one, you know, because it might be one that shouldn't be stepped on. It might be sacred ground. Don't do that. Learn from the best. You know, the Dylans, the McCartneys. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really know your stuff. I don't care if you're playing country music or whether you're playing jazz or whatever. Know your music, and because you know, as you know, or as you would probably know, that a business is made up of your peers. It's not made up of fans. You know, fans is the residual. The business is made up of peers, and you have to come into a situation like that and make sure that you are worthy. If you're not worthy, they're going to snicker behind your back, you know. Right. And when people do that, you can't work to your fullest ability. You can't work the way that you need to work, and you hold your head up high. You're always constantly trying to please them. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's good advice.
You know, once you get them on your side, you're okay. You can do whatever you want to do, but make sure you come in, you know, tippy-toe in there, and make sure you show some respect. I tell you one thing that I can't stand. This is a little pet peeve of mine. The one thing that I can't stand about a lot of the artists that are coming into the scene now, especially pop artists, and there's some country ones now too, where they'll come onto a stage and they've just won an award, and they literally won't give the audience the time of day. They feel like they've already deserved it before they ever even go off the stage, and that is just based upon principle alone is wrong. It's just wrong. We're still talking about appreciation here. You know, we're talking about respect here. We're not talking about whether or not you're talented. That's beside the point.
Right.
You know, so that's my little 2 cents there. You know,
well,
I don't want to preach, but that's just the way I feel. You know,
it gets to me too when you go
out,
somewhere, and I mean, it doesn't have to be music. It can be a film star, a TV star. They act like they're just a step above everybody. And I think that's why I liked Nashville when my daughter was at Belmont University. Was you go there and everybody's so warm and friendly. And you can go, I mean, she would tell us the trips to the mall and see country music stars. Well, yeah, they got a shop too, but they would take the time out to say hi and greet their fans. The fans is what put them there. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I understand that whole.
Yeah, I mean,
what would you say to mom and dad? They've got a son or a daughter that wants to pursue a music career.
Gosh. I pray for you.
Yeah, how did your parents handle that? It was
well, you know, it's tough. It's a very, very tough business. You know, I think in the beginning you're afraid, oh my God, they're going to be associated with musicians. Yeah. You know, which I don't blame you. I get it. You know, but the thing about it is you know, musicians are very passionate people. They are, you know, like I was saying before, they wear their heart out on their sleeve. You know. They're very animated most of the time. And truly, I think in all of us, we all want to be that way. We'd all love to just be like crazy most of the time, if we could. But we just don't. We just kind of reserve, you know. And now being, getting ready to be a father, I'm starting to feel that way too. I'm like, oh God, well, I need to settle down.
Changes things.
You know, I need to settle down. You know, my kid can't see me like this.
No.
Right?
Don't settle down. You stay Brady Seals.
Well, and that's the thing. I think, you know, my natural instincts tell me to settle down. But you know what? We only live once. Let's have fun. You know, if your kid wants to join a band, God bless you. You know, especially if he's a drummer. I'm sorry, you know, God, you know, Lord, that'll drive you crazy.
Well, we had a drummer that lived behind us, and
yeah,
thank God they moved.
Get them an electronic kit to begin with, just to see whether or not that they can do it. Yeah.
You're in Nashville. You live in Nashville now?
I am. You know, for the last, gosh, I've been there since '89, something like that. You know. And the last 5 or 6 years, you know, I've been there, and it's just been wonderful because I've kind of had like a comeback almost, you know, with my band Hot Apple Pie, with Hillbillies, Love It in the Hay, you know. It went top 20, and we were just like, yes, you know, we got another shot at it. Thank you. But the video was like the thing that impacted people the most. You know, we had Philip Andelman, the guy who produced a couple of Lenny Kravitz's videos. Produced that video, you know, and it was just really spectacular. So with that, I think that it's kind of changed my perception of Nashville in general, you know, because there for a while I was like, oh man, maybe I should move back or whatever, you know, but I've really had a really good time the last 4 or 5 years, you know. It's been good.
Are you recording now or are you touring?
I'm writing and recording. I've got 3 artists that I'm producing. I'm also producing on the side. I've got a guy from the UK named David Bradley, another guy from Canada named Larry Barrio, and he goes by Larry Barrio from Ontario. Oh. Right, he's a great personality. He's really cool. And then I've got this girl whose name is Nikki Z. She's 16 years old. Looks like a supermodel and sings like Joss Stone. It's just really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to getting her stuff done. We just took her into the studio yesterday, actually, and that was a ball. So I'm doing that, but I'm also getting prepared for this next Hot Apple Pie record, and looking for. I'm just trying to find those right songs because you know, it's been so long now that I'm like almost afraid to put one out. You know what I mean? Because I want it to be great. You know, so it's gonna be rough.
Brady, what future projects do you have planned?
Well, you know, like I said before, Hot Apple Pie is pretty much the main agenda. Trying to get that off and running, and the artist that I'm working with as a producer, I want to get that up and running. But I've got the opportunity from a gal down in Texas to actually start my own independent record company, which is crazy for me. I never really would have dreamed that I would have gotten into that side of the business, but it's pretty exciting, you know. Of course, I'm not going to be there like, you know, driving away all the time. It's just that, you know, I'm going to have a mechanism there to help my career and help other artists that I'm working with. It's going to be called Avant-Garde Music, and so that's exciting. And just continuing to write. I think that as I get older in the business, songs really matter the most to me. Trying to find the right songs or write them, and so you know, I'm really trying to concentrate on doing that.
Yeah. You mentioned mentoring. What was that again?
Yeah, Opportune Music. Yeah, and that kind of started with a guy that I know in the business who works for a company called CO5, which is a independent radio promotion company. And you know, they promoted that Tracy Lawrence something about Friends or something. I forget what the name of the song was, but it was a #1 song, you know. And they've been working with you know, pop artists as well, like John Fogerty and the Black Crowes, and so a pretty reputable company. And they had come to me basically saying, Brady, will you start a company for us to send you clients if they're not quite ready, if they don't have the right song, or they need to lose a little weight, or they need to do this or do that, whatever it may be. And I said, you know, I've never really done that before, but you know, I know what it's like to do that. Yeah, I mean, it might be kind of cool. So I really started with that, you know, because I didn't want to be considered like the talent scout, you know, with sitting around with the cigar in his mouth. You know, that's just not my style. So, but it was a way for me to get into that legitimately, you know, and really work with artists that are like right on the verge. So
sure.
It's really cool though, because I've already started working with this guy named David Bradley, and he was really my first client with Opportune. And it worked great for him, and he was very satisfied. So I'm rolling. Yeah. You know, it's cool.
Folks, you can visit bradyseals.com. See excerpts from music videos. Yeah. I saw you've got a little bit of your history on there, some of which you just heard, and somewhere I saw a MySpace.
Yeah, I've got so many websites / domains. It's crazy, you know, because with Hot Apple Pie, I've got hotapplepie.net, right? Which, you know, there's going to be a brand new site getting ready to happen, hotapplepie.net. Which I've got the MySpace / Hot Apple Pie. Then I've got MySpace / Brady Seals. Then I've got bradyseals.com. Yeah. Then I got opportunemusic.com. So, you know, it's, you know, you can check me out anywhere.
Marketing, networking. That's, I mean,
you got to get out there. That's right.
You have to do it. I asked you to bring a guitar, and if you would play a little tune for all of Fairfield.
Sure.
We'll let you get set up for that. We'll take a little bit of break, and we'll come back and let's have a little performance.
Sounds great. A little blast from the past. I've seen a lot of places. I've been around the world. I've seen some pretty faces, been with some beautiful girls. But after all I've witnessed, one thing still amazes me. Just like a miracle, you have to see to believe. God bless Texas with his own hand brought
could dance. If you wanna see heaven, brother, here's your chance. I've been sent to spread the message. God bless Texas. First he made the sunshine, then he made the waters deep. Then he gave us moonlight for all the world to see. Now everybody knows that the Lord works in mysterious ways. He took a rest, then on the very next day, God bless Texas with his own hand, brought down angels from the promised land, gave them a place where they could dance. If you wanna see heaven, brother, here's your chance. I've been sent to spread the message. God bless Texas. I've been sent to spread the message. God bless Texas. Get on your mark, get set, ready or not, here I come. You've been looking for love, well honey, I can give you some. When your world is standing still, I can turn it around. Put your head up in the clouds and pick your feet off the ground. My love, are you ready for my love, my love? My love, my love is ready for you. You're looking for a heart that's always true, only to you. My love, my love, my love is ready for you. Girl, I've heard it said that love is food for the soul. I see the hunger in your eyes, burning out of control. My love is overflowing, a love and cup. Girl, I know you're down, but love will lift you. My love, are you ready for my love, my love? My love, my love is ready for you. If you're looking for a heart that's always true, only to you. My love, my love, my love is ready for you. My love is ready for you. My love is ready for you. My love is ready for you.
Brady, that was great. I appreciate you being a part of our program today. Folks at home, you can buy the music, the songs you just heard here today, hotapplepie.net, bradyseals.com. You can purchase, you can preview the music there. And again, thanks for being a part of our program. Catch you next time around, Brady.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.